Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something about the journey of self-improvement. It doesn't start with what you can get from the world, it starts within. When you wake up in the morning, you're not competing with anyone else out there. You're only competing with the person in the mirror. The first step to growth is self-reflection. Ask yourself, who am I really? What do I stand for? Because if you don't know who you are, it doesn't matter where you're headed. Your foundation has to be strong before you build anything on it. Now, once you know where you stand, it's time to set some goals that belong to you, not anyone else. Don't chase after things because someone else has them. Chase what truly matters to you. Think about the kind of person you want to become, not the life you think you're supposed to have. It's a commitment. It's showing up every single day, even when you don't feel like it. It's easy to get excited in the beginning, but what happens when it's just you facing that grind? That's where discipline comes in. Along this journey, you'll face setbacks. Maybe you'll make mistakes, or maybe you'll fall short of your own expectations. That's part of the process. Don't fear failure, because every time you fall, you're learning how to rise stronger. Resilience is built on learning to keep going no matter what. And one more thing, don't waste time comparing yourself to others. There will always be someone who's ahead of you, just as there will always be someone behind. Your path is yours alone. Focus on your lane, not someone else's, because the moment you start comparing, you lose sight of where you're headed. Build strong habits that will carry you forward. You are the sum of the things you do every single day. Small actions taken consistently will lead you to places you never dreamed of reaching. And don't rush it. Growth takes time. Trust that every step is leading you somewhere meaningful. Even if you can't see it right away, be patient. Have faith in the process and keep moving forward. Above all, believe in yourself. You've got to be your own biggest supporter. You have to look in that mirror and know that no matter what, you have what it takes to reach your full potential. Focus on improving yourself, because in the end, that's where true success lies. When we talk about growth, so often we're looking outward, measuring success by what's visible, money, recognition, or power. But real growth doesn't start with what the world can see, it starts with what only you can see. Self-reflection isn't just glancing at yourself in the mirror and moving on, it's looking inside, taking a deeper, unfiltered look at who you are beyond titles and roles. It's confronting yourself, asking the hard questions, and facing your own truth. It's uncomfortable, and it's meant to be. Self-reflection isn't about judgment, it's about honesty. To improve, you have to know what you're working with. You have to ask yourself, what are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What habits do I hold onto that serve no purpose? What kind of person am I when nobody's watching? These questions strip away the illusions we create about ourselves, peeling back layers we might not like to look at. But it's in those layers and the parts we often avoid that real change begins. In this world, we're conditioned to hide our flaws and advertise our strengths, but self-reflection flips that. It requires us to look at what isn't working, to get real about our limits, our fears, and our insecurities. Because how can you grow if you won't admit where you need it? Self-reflection makes you confront those areas you've avoided. It makes you face your habits, your patterns, and sometimes your own failures. That's where the power lies, in embracing all of it, not just the shiny parts. Self-reflection is also about remembering what truly matters to you. The world will try to sell you 100 different versions of success, 100 ideas of who you should be. But if you never stop to ask yourself what you want, you end up living someone else's dream. When you take the time to reflect, you reconnect with the values and passions that make you unique. You begin to understand what drives you, what fulfills you, and what's worth sacrificing for. This understanding becomes a compass, keeping you on track and steering you away from choices that don't serve your true self. When you give yourself permission to reflect deeply, you're making a commitment to growth that isn't bound by anyone else's expectations. You're saying to yourself, I'm not here to impress anyone, I'm here to become the best version of myself. It's in that space of honesty and vulnerability that you start building a foundation that's solid because it's rooted in truth. And with that truth, you can begin the journey of real improvement, one honest step at a time. Setting personal goals is an act of defining who you want to become. It's a commitment you make to yourself, not because someone else thinks you should do it, but because it aligns with who you are and where you want your life to go. When you set personal goals, you're drawing a map for yourself, a map that isn't about following someone else's path, but about carving out your own. Each goal is a decision, a deliberate choice to pursue something meaningful rather than drift through life without direction. This process starts with clarity. It's not enough to say, I want to be successful or I want to be happy. Those are vague ambitions that can lead you anywhere or nowhere at all. Instead, personal goals need specifics, something you can measure, something you can hold yourself accountable to. Setting personal goals means looking at where you are now and envisioning where you want to be, then breaking that vision down into actionable, concrete steps. Then you might ask yourself, what do I want to achieve in the next year? In the next 5 years, but it goes beyond just what you want to accomplish. Ask yourself why you want these things. Is it because they genuinely fulfill you or because you feel like you should want them? Sometimes we chase things that look good on paper, only to realize later that they were never what we truly wanted. When you take the time to set goals that reflect your own values and dreams, you're giving yourself permission to pursue a life that's aligned with who you are at your core. Goal setting also brings focus. The world is full of distractions, of people and things pulling you in every direction, but when you have a clear set of goals, you start to understand what to say yes to, and just as importantly, what to say no to. Your goals become a filter through which you view opportunities, and you can measure every choice against them. Does this opportunity align with my goals? Does this decision help me grow into the person I want to become? With that clarity, your time, energy, and resources are directed toward what truly matters to you instead of being wasted on distractions. Achieving personal goals requires discipline. It's easy to set goals in the heat of motivation, but staying committed when the excitement fades is where real progress happens. Every day you'll have choices that either bring you closer to your goals or take you further away. Discipline means showing up even when the journey gets hard, even when the path seems long. Setting personal goals isn't about aiming for instant success, it's about long-term, sustainable growth that builds over time. The goals you set today might take years to achieve, but that's part of the beauty of it. Each step, each sacrifice, each effort is an investment in the person you're becoming. Finally, setting personal goals also means leaving room for flexibility. Life is unpredictable, and sometimes the path you envisioned isn't the path that's meant for you.
Goals aren't set in stone, they're guides, and sometimes the journey itself reveals a new direction that's even more aligned with who you are. Don't be afraid to revisit your goals, to refine them, or even to change them if necessary.
Growth is a dynamic process, and your goals should evolve as you do. When you take the time to set personal goals that resonate deeply with who you are, you're building a vision for your future that's rooted in authenticity. You're setting a standard for yourself, one that challenges you to rise and meet it every day. It's not just about reaching the goal, it's about who you become in the process, the resilience you build, the lessons you learn, and the person you grow into. Setting personal goals is a promise you make to yourself to keep moving forward, to keep growing, and to keep becoming the best version of who you're meant to be. Discipline and consistency are the backbone of true growth. When you look at anyone who's reached a meaningful goal, what you're seeing is the result of dedication and everyday commitment to show up, put in the work, and keep moving forward, regardless of the circumstances. Discipline is the force that keeps you steady when the initial spark of motivation fades. It's what makes you get up and do what you know needs to be done, even on days when it's the last thing you feel like doing. Discipline starts with a choice, a conscious decision to prioritize what matters to you over temporary comforts or distractions. In a world that constantly pulls you in different directions, discipline is what keeps you grounded, focused on the bigger picture. It's about resisting the urge to take shortcuts or fall back into old habits that don't serve your goals. When you decide to act with discipline, you're building a foundation of integrity within yourself. You're honoring your own word, proving to yourself that you can be trusted to follow through no matter what. Consistency is what gives discipline its strength. Without consistency, even the best intentions fall apart. It's not about perfection, it's about persistence. You won't always perform at your best, and there will be days when you stumble. But when you're consistent, you understand that every day you put in the work, no matter how small, you're moving forward. Each action, however seemingly insignificant, compounds over time, creating a ripple effect that leads to substantial progress. Improvement doesn't come from a single monumental effort. It's the result of daily, often quiet efforts that build upon each other. Together, discipline and consistency create resilience. When you commit to doing something every day, you're training yourself to endure, to keep going even when the journey feels tough. The path to improvement isn't always smooth, and sometimes it may even feel stagnant. But discipline and consistency teach you patience. They remind you that real growth doesn't happen overnight. The changes may be so gradual that they're almost invisible in the moment, but over time, those small efforts accumulate, and suddenly you find yourself at a level you once only dreamed of reaching. Discipline and consistency are also about building trust within yourself. Every time you make a promise to take a step forward and follow through, you reinforce the belief that you can rely on yourself. That self-trust becomes invaluable, especially in moments of doubt or difficulty. When others question your path or when challenges make the journey hard, that internal confidence built through consistent effort reminds you that you have what it takes to keep pushing. But discipline isn't just about sticking to a rigid routine. It's also about learning to adapt without losing focus. Life will throw curveballs, unexpected situations, setbacks, things you can't control. True discipline means staying committed to your goals even when things don't go as planned. It's about finding ways to keep moving, to stay consistent, even if it means adjusting your approach. That flexibility within discipline is what allows you to navigate life's uncertainties while staying true to your purpose. Ultimately, discipline and consistency are about investing in yourself. When you commit to daily growth, you're making a statement that you believe in your potential, that you're willing to work for something bigger than what you have today. You're embracing the discomfort, the early mornings, the late nights, the moments of doubt, all because you know that each step is leading you closer to the person you want to become. With discipline and consistency, improvement isn't a question of if but when. It may not happen in the time frame you hoped, and it may look different than you imagined, but the progress is real. These two qualities build the strength, patience, and resilience necessary to reach the kind of success that isn't fleeting but lasting. Discipline and consistency are the tools that take dreams out of the clouds and turn them into reality, one determined step at a time. Overcoming setbacks is a crucial part of any journey toward growth, success, or self-improvement. Setbacks are inevitable. No matter how well you plan or how hard you work, there will be moments when things don't go the way you hoped. But setbacks aren't the end. They're a test of your resolve, a challenge to see if you're willing to keep going, even when the path gets difficult. Facing setbacks requires a mindset that sees failure not as a stopping point, but as a stepping stone. The first part of overcoming a setback is accepting it. It's natural to feel disappointed, frustrated, or even defeated when things don't go as planned, but growth doesn't come from dwelling on what went wrong. Accepting a setback doesn't mean you're happy about it. It means you're choosing to face it head on, to acknowledge what happened without letting it define you. Acceptance frees you from the trap of regret and self-blame, allowing you to focus on what you can do next instead of what you wish you could change. Once you've accepted the setback, the next step is to learn from it. Every setback has something to teach, but the lesson isn't always obvious. Maybe you need to adjust your approach, build new skills, or improve your resilience. Or perhaps the setback is an opportunity to reflect on your goals and ensure they still align with your values. Learning from setbacks requires humility. It's about looking at your mistakes honestly and asking, what can I do better next time? When you approach setbacks as learning experiences, they become a part of your growth rather than a barrier to it. Overcoming setbacks also requires resilience, the ability to keep going, even when the journey gets rough. Resilience is built in the moments when you feel like giving up, yet choose to keep moving forward. It's the inner strength that tells you this isn't the end. Setbacks may slow you down, but they don't have to stop you. Building resilience is about trusting yourself, knowing that you can handle challenges and adapt to change. It's about finding strength in the struggle, knowing that every time you overcome a setback, you're building the mental toughness to handle even bigger challenges in the future. Sometimes setbacks will force you to adapt. The path you envision might not be available anymore, and that can be a hard reality to face, but adaptation is a form of strength. When you're willing to adjust your plans, to try new methods, or take a different route, you're demonstrating flexibility and resourcefulness. This is the kind of mindset that allows you to keep moving forward no matter what life throws your way. Adaptation means you're committed to the goal, even if the journey looks different than you imagined. Another essential part of overcoming setbacks is patience. Setbacks often feel like they're putting you further away from your goals, but they're actually part of the journey. Growth isn't always a straight line, and progress doesn't always look like forward movement. Sometimes you have to take a few steps back to gain the perspective or experience needed to move forward with greater wisdom. Patience means trusting the process, knowing that setbacks are temporary and that persistence will bring you closer to your goals in the long run. It's also important to seek support when facing setbacks. It's easy to think you have to do it all alone, but sharing your challenges with others can offer new perspectives and encouragement. Whether it's friends, family, mentors, or colleagues, having people in your corner can make all the difference. They can remind you of your strengths when you're feeling low, offer insights you might not see on your own, and keep you grounded when the setback feels overwhelming. Overcoming setbacks doesn't mean you have to be invincible. It means recognizing when to lean on those around you. Setbacks have a way of teaching you resilience, adaptability, and inner strength in ways that nothing else can. They remind you of why you started, test your commitment to your goals, and ultimately they make you stronger. Overcoming setbacks doesn't erase the difficulties, but it transforms them, allowing you to carry forward a deeper understanding of yourself and your path. In the end, setbacks are not the end of the journey, they're a part of it. They add depth to your story, shaping you into someone who doesn't just dream, but does whatever it takes to make those dreams a reality. When you face setbacks, you're given a chance to prove your resilience, to rise above, and to keep moving forward with even more determination. Each time you overcome a setback, you're telling yourself, I am stronger than this. And with every challenge you conquer, you're one step closer to becoming the person you were meant to be. Avoiding comparison is essential to cultivating a healthy, self-driven path toward growth. In today's world, we're constantly surrounded by images and stories of other people's successes, talents, and achievements. Social media, professional networks, and even casual conversations often serve as a mirror reflecting where we should be, tempting us to measure ourselves against others. But comparison is a trap. It's an endless cycle that distracts you from your own journey and pulls you away from a mindset of genuine self-improvement. The root of comparison is often insecurity. When we compare ourselves to others, we're usually looking for validation, some reassurance that we're doing well or that we're enough, but true confidence can't come from looking outward. It must be built from within. Instead of focusing on how you measure up to others, you have to focus on who you are and who you want to become. When you free yourself from the habit of comparison, you make space to celebrate your own progress, however small or gradual it may be. Comparison Comparison also assumes that everyone is on the same path, which simply isn't true. Each person has their own unique combination of experiences, talents, struggles, and timing. Someone else's achievements may look like a marker of success to you, but you don't see the sacrifices, the setbacks, or the journey that brought them there. You don't see the sleepless nights, the moments of doubt, or the personal battles they may have faced along the way. Focusing on your own journey means honoring the reality that growth looks different for everyone. When you respect your own path, you realize that no one else's timeline can dictate your worth or your success. Avoiding comparison also means learning to define success for yourself. Society has a way of telling us what success looks like, whether it's money, fame, status, or appearance, but true success is deeply personal. It's about aligning your life with your values, becoming a person you're proud of, and achieving goals that matter to you. When you compare yourself to others, you're often letting someone else's definition of success influence your sense of self-worth. Instead, focus on setting goals that are meaningful to you. Ask yourself, what kind of life do I want to create? What qualities do I want to develop? What contributions do I want to make? This shift in focus helps you stay true to yourself and avoid the external pressure to conform to someone else's idea of success. One of the most liberating aspects of avoiding comparison is that it allows you to celebrate others without feeling diminished. When you're not comparing yourself to others, you can appreciate their successes, talents, and progress without feeling as though it takes something away from you. You become free to admire others without it triggering feelings of inadequacy. This kind of genuine admiration builds a more supportive, uplifting environment both for yourself and for those around you. Life becomes less about competition and more about shared growth, where other people's achievements become sources of inspiration rather than points of envy. To avoid comparison, it helps to cultivate gratitude. When you take time to recognize and appreciate what you have, it shifts your focus from what you lack to what you already possess. Gratitude grounds you in the present, helping you to see your unique blessings and progress rather than what someone else may have. Every step forward, no matter how small, is worth celebrating. Practicing gratitude allows you to look at your journey with kindness and patience, recognizing that you're exactly where you need to be for the stage you're in. This doesn't mean you stop striving for more. It means that you can pursue growth without feeling like you're in a race against others. Avoiding comparison also requires self-compassion. In moments of struggle or doubt, it's easy to fall back into the habit of comparing yourself to others who seem to have it all together. But remember, everyone has struggles, even if they're hidden. Instead of using someone else's success as a yardstick to measure your own, be kind to yourself. Recognize that your journey is valid, your pace is enough, and your growth is real, even if it doesn't look like anyone else's. Self-compassion helps you to be gentle with yourself on tough days, reinforcing your commitment to your own path rather than letting someone else's path define your worth. Ultimately, avoiding comparison is about focusing on becoming the best version of yourself. When you're constantly comparing, you're distracted from your own growth, from building your own strengths, and from nurturing your own potential. By focusing inward, you're able to identify your unique gifts, work on your weaknesses, and celebrate your progress on your terms. You start to value yourself for who you are, not for how you stack up against someone else. When you stop comparing yourself to others, you give yourself the freedom to be fully, unapologetically you. You begin to realize that there's room for everyone to succeed, and someone else's success doesn't take away from your own. By avoiding comparison, you create a mindset that's centered on self-discovery and self-fulfillment, allowing you to pursue a life that's truly meaningful to you. And in that mindset, growth becomes an authentic journey, a journey that is yours and yours alone. Building strong habits is one of the most powerful tools for personal transformation. Habits shape nearly every aspect of our lives, from our health to our productivity to our relationships. They are the small, consistent actions we take every day that compound over time, leading to substantial and lasting change. But building strong habits isn't simply a matter of willpower or discipline. It's about creating systems that make those habits sustainable and ingraining them into our daily routines so deeply that they become second nature. Building strong habits starts with clarity. You have to be clear about what you want to achieve and why it matters to you. If you don't know why a habit is important, it's hard to stay committed when the initial excitement fades. Ask yourself, what is the deeper motivation behind this habit? How will it contribute to my goals or improve my life? This sense of purpose becomes the foundation that fuels your commitment when you understand the why behind your habit. It's easier to keep going even on tough days because you're reminded of the long-term benefits. One of the keys to building strong habits is starting small. When we're excited about change, it's tempting to take on too much at once, setting huge goals or trying to implement drastic changes immediately. But big goals can quickly become overwhelming, leading to burnout or frustration. Instead, break the habit down into its smallest form. If your goal is to read more, start with just a page a day. If you want to exercise, start with 5 minutes. The smaller the action, the easier it is to stick with it consistently. Small actions may not seem impactful on their own, but over time they build momentum and make the habit feel achievable. Consistency is essential to habit building. It's not about doing something perfectly, but about doing it regularly. Missing a day here and there won't break a habit, but letting inconsistency become a pattern can weaken your commitment. Try to build your habit into your daily routine in a way that feels natural. Maybe it's part of your morning ritual, or it happens after a certain event each day, like brushing your teeth or finishing work. The more you link the habit to a specific time or trigger, the easier it becomes to follow through without overthinking it. Another crucial aspect of building strong habits is creating an environment that supports them. Your surroundings have a profound impact on your behaviors, often more than you realize. You're trying to eat healthier, stock your kitchen with nutritious foods, and keep junk food out of sight. If you want to study more, set up a dedicated space that's free from distractions. Designing your environment to make the desired behavior easier and undesirable behaviors harder reduces the need for willpower and makes it more likely that you'll stick to your habit over time. Tracking your progress can also be incredibly motivating. When you have a visual representation of your consistency, like a calendar or habit tracker, it reinforces your commitment. Each time you mark a day as completed, you get a small sense of accomplishment, which strengthens your resolve to continue. Tracking also makes it easier to see how far you've come, even if the progress feels slow in the moment. Seeing those small wins add up reminds you that your efforts are making a difference and helps you stay motivated, especially during periods when it feels like change is happening slowly. It's also essential to focus on the identity you want to build rather than just the outcome. Instead of thinking, I want to run a marathon, think, I am a runner. Instead of saying, I want to read more books, say, I am a reader. When you see your habit as a part of who you are rather than just something you do, it becomes easier to maintain. Each small action reinforces this identity, strengthening your commitment and making the habit feel more natural. Building habits around your identity rather than just goals ensures that they are aligned with your sense of self, making them more resilient over time. Patience is essential when building strong habits. Progress may be slow at first, and there will likely be times when it feels like you're not making any headway, but remember that habits are a long-term investment in yourself. Real change takes time, and the journey is often filled with small victories and setbacks alike. Trusting the process and being kind to yourself as you build these habits can keep you from giving up too soon. A habit isn't built in a day or even a week. It's the result of consistent effort over time. The patience to persist even when the rewards aren't immediate is what ultimately leads to lasting change. Accountability can also make a difference. When you share your goals with others or have someone who checks in with you, it adds a layer of commitment. Knowing that someone else is aware of your habit-building journey can help you stay on track. This could be a friend, family member, or even a community with similar goals. Accountability doesn't mean relying on others to keep you in line, but it can provide a sense of support and encouragement. Sometimes knowing that someone else believes in your potential is the push you need to keep going. Finally, give yourself permission to make adjustments as needed. Life changes, and sometimes the habits you set out to build may need to adapt. Don't be afraid to refine your approach or set new goals if something isn't working. Building strong habits is about creating a lifestyle that supports your growth, not rigidly sticking to a routine that no longer serves you. Flexibility doesn't mean giving up. It means honoring your journey and making choices that reflect your current needs and goals. Building strong habits is an empowering process. It's a commitment to yourself, a declaration that you believe in your potential for growth. Over time, these habits become the foundation of a life that aligns with your values and aspirations. They shape your character, build your confidence, and bring you closer to the person you want to become. With clarity, patience, and a willingness to keep showing up, you have the power to create habits that elevate every part of your life. Patience and trust in the process are vital principles in the journey of growth, whether personal, professional, or spiritual. In a world that prizes instant gratification and fast results, it can be challenging to slow down and embrace a journey that requires time, commitment, and faith. But true transformation doesn't happen overnight. It's the result of steady, consistent effort over time. Developing patience and trusting in the process mean understanding that meaningful change is often slow and being at peace with that pace rather than constantly pushing for immediate results. Patience is a deep-seated strength, not a passive state. It's about staying grounded, even when the results you seek are taking longer than expected. It's the inner calm that allows you to keep going without losing motivation or focus. Patience isn't about doing nothing, it's about doing the right things consistently and trusting that they will lead to the desired outcome in time. It's the mindset that allows you to see setbacks as temporary and progress as incremental. By practicing patience, you avoid the common pitfall of rushing into decisions or changes that may provide short-term satisfaction but jeopardize long-term success. Trusting the process is closely tied to patience. It's a mindset that acknowledges that growth has its own timeline and that not everything is visible in the moment. Think of it like planting a seed. You don't dig it up every day to check if it's sprouting. Instead, you water it, provide sunlight, and give it time. You trust that. Even though you can't see the roots growing beneath the soil, they are taking hold. Trusting the process means having faith that your efforts, though they may not yield immediate results, are moving you closer to your goals, often in ways you may not fully understand yet. Patience and trust are also about accepting the natural rhythm of life. Life has seasons, times of growth, times of waiting, times of change, and times of rest. Sometimes it may feel like you're working hard without seeing any visible progress, but this doesn't mean that growth isn't happening beneath the surface. Trusting the process means acknowledging that every season serves a purpose. Even in moments of stillness or stagnation, valuable lessons are being learned, resilience is being built, and inner strength is being developed. This perspective helps you stay focused on the bigger picture rather than becoming discouraged by temporary plateaus. One of the greatest benefits of practicing patience and trusting in the process is that it allows you to remain resilient in the face of challenges. When you understand that setbacks are part of the journey, they become less overwhelming. Instead of viewing them as failures, you start to see them as opportunities to learn and grow. Patience allows you to take a step back, to reassess and adjust your approach if needed, without losing sight of your end goal. This resilience built through patience becomes one of your most powerful tools for navigating obstacles and moving forward. Cultivating patience and trust also means letting go of the need to control every aspect of the journey. It's easy to get caught up in expectations and timelines, to set rigid standards for how and when things should happen. But often life has its own plan, and it may not align with the one we envision. Trusting the process means surrendering to this uncertainty, embracing the idea that things may unfold in unexpected ways. It's about having confidence that while you may not control the outcome, you can control your effort, attitude, and commitment. By releasing the need to control, you open yourself to possibilities and outcomes you may not have anticipated but are just as valuable.
Patience and trust require self-compassion. When results take time, it's natural to feel frustrated or disappointed, especially if you start to question your progress or doubt your abilities.
Self-compassion allows you to be kind to yourself in these moments, reminding you that you're human and that growth is often imperfect. It's okay to feel frustrated, but with self-compassion, you can acknowledge those feelings without letting them derail your journey. By treating yourself with understanding, you reinforce your commitment to the process, knowing that you're doing your best and that's enough. Another key aspect of trusting the process is understanding that growth is often nonlinear. Progress doesn't always look like a straight line moving upward. It's filled with peaks, valleys, and plateaus. Some days you may feel like you're moving backward or that all your efforts are leading nowhere, but each experience, even the setbacks, is part of the journey. Often the greatest breakthroughs come after periods of stagnation or difficulty. Patience allows you to keep moving forward, even when you're unsure of the direction, knowing that each step, however small, is bringing you closer to your goal. Patience and trust also bring a sense of peace. When you're focused on the outcome alone, there's often anxiety or a sense of rushing to achieve it, but when you embrace patience, you start to find joy in the journey itself. You're able to appreciate the small victories, the daily moments of growth, and the lessons learned along the way. Trusting the process allows you to live in the present, to experience each step of the journey fully, rather than constantly looking ahead. This doesn't mean you lose sight of your goals, rather. It means that you're content with where you are now, knowing that progress is being made, even if it's not immediately visible. Ultimately, patience and trust in the process are acts of faith in yourself and your journey, and in the life you're creating. They're a declaration that you believe in your capacity to grow and that you're willing to invest the time and effort it takes to reach your full potential. Patience and trust are not passive qualities, they're active choices that reinforce your commitment to becoming the best version of yourself. By embracing these principles, you create a solid foundation for enduring growth, allowing you to move forward with confidence, resilience, and peace.
The journey of growth is long, often filled with unexpected twists and turns, but with patience and trust in the process, you build a mindset that can withstand these challenges. You learn to embrace the journey, to find strength in the waiting, and to trust that, in time, every step you take will bring you closer to the person you're meant to be.
Belief in oneself is the bedrock of personal growth and achievement. It's the quiet but powerful conviction that you have the ability to handle whatever comes your way, that you're capable of learning, adapting, and overcoming obstacles no matter how daunting they might seem. This belief isn't about arrogance or overconfidence, it's about a deep-rooted trust in your own potential and resilience. When you believe in yourself, you give yourself permission to try, to fail, to get back up, and to keep moving forward, knowing that you have what it takes to reach your goals. Belief in oneself starts with recognizing your inherent worth. It means understanding that you don't have to be perfect or have everything figured out to be valuable or capable. This belief is an inner assurance that, regardless of your starting point or the challenges you face, you have the capacity to grow. It's not about who you are at any given moment, it's about who you can become. With self-belief, you don't let mistakes or shortcomings define you. Instead, you see them as part of the learning process, knowing that every experience, even the difficult ones, is a stepping stone toward growth. Having belief in yourself means trusting in your own judgment and intuition. It's easy to look to others for validation or approval, but self-belief means valuing your own opinions and perspectives. It means making decisions based on what you know to be true for yourself, rather than constantly seeking external validation. This doesn't mean you ignore advice or input from others, but it does mean that you listen to your inner voice and honor your own understanding of what's best for you. When you trust yourself, you're empowered to make choices that align with your values and aspirations, leading you toward a life that feels authentic and fulfilling. Self-belief also requires embracing vulnerability. It's about allowing yourself to take risks even when there's no guarantee of success. When you believe in yourself, you're willing to step out of your comfort zone to try new things and to face the possibility of failure. Self-belief doesn't shield you from fear, but it does give you the courage to move forward in spite of it. By taking risks, you open yourself up to growth and new opportunities, expanding your horizons in ways you may not have imagined. Every risk taken with self-belief strengthens your resilience, teaching you that you're capable of handling whatever outcomes arise. Developing belief in oneself often involves overcoming self-doubt. Everyone experiences doubt at times, but those who believe in themselves don't let it control their actions. Instead, they learn to recognize doubt as a passing feeling, not a permanent truth. They understand that self-doubt is a natural part of growth and that it doesn't have to stop them from pursuing their goals. With self-belief, you can acknowledge your doubts without letting them paralyze you. You learn to counter them with affirmations of your strengths, reminding yourself of past achievements and the qualities that make you capable. Believing in yourself also means taking ownership of your life. When you have self-belief, you understand that you are responsible for your own happiness, growth, and success. This doesn't mean you won't face obstacles or that you can control every aspect of your life, but it does mean that you're committed to making the most of your circumstances. You don't wait for others to grant you permission or vision to pursue your dreams, and you don't blame others when things go wrong. Instead, you take ownership of your actions and choices, knowing that each step you take is a reflection of your commitment to your goals. Self-belief is not a one-time decision, it's a daily practice. It's reinforced each time you push through a difficult moment, try something new, or stand by your values in the face of doubt or criticism. Every small success, every lesson learned from failure, and every act of resilience strengthens your belief in yourself.
This belief becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. The more you trust in your abilities, the more willing you are to take on challenges and the more successes you achieve, which further reinforces your self-belief.
This cycle of confidence and achievement builds over time, creating a solid foundation of trust in yourself. An important aspect of self-belief is resilience. When you believe in yourself, you don't view setbacks as failures, you see them as opportunities to grow stronger. Self-belief gives you the courage to get back up after every fall, to learn from every mistake, to keep moving forward. It allows you to view challenges as part of the journey rather than barriers to your success. With self-belief, you understand that resilience is built in the face of adversity, and that each time you overcome an obstacle, you're proving to yourself that you're capable of handling whatever comes your way. Belief in oneself also fosters a sense of self-compassion. When you believe in your worth, you're more likely to treat yourself with kindness and understanding. You recognize that you're human with strengths and weaknesses, and you're gentle with yourself in moments of struggle. Self-belief doesn't mean you avoid acknowledging your flaws. It means you accept them as part of who you are, knowing that they don't define your potential. Self-compassion allows you to move forward without being weighed down by guilt or regret, creating a mindset that's focused on growth rather than perfection. Having belief in yourself also makes you less reliant on external validation. You don't need constant approval from others to feel worthy or capable because your sense of self-worth comes from within. This internal validation frees you from the pressure to conform to others' expectations, allowing you to live a life that feels true to you. When you believe in yourself, you're empowered to make choices that reflect your own values and aspirations rather than seeking to meet someone else's standard of success. This sense of independence strengthens your confidence, enabling you to pursue goals with authenticity and purpose. Ultimately, belief in oneself is about recognizing that you are enough just as you are, while also being open to growth and improvement. It's the conviction that you have the power within you to overcome challenges, achieve your goals, and live a meaningful life. This belief doesn't mean you have all the answers, but it does mean you trust in your ability to find them. When you believe in yourself, you're not afraid to face the unknown because you have confidence in your ability to learn, adapt, and persevere. Belief in oneself is transformative. It allows you to navigate life with a sense of purpose and determination, to face challenges with resilience, and to pursue your dreams with unwavering commitment. It's the foundation that enables you to grow into the best version of yourself, creating a life that's aligned with your values, goals, and aspirations. With self-belief, you become your own greatest ally, empowering yourself to reach heights you may never have thought possible. In the end, the journey of self-improvement is one of courage, commitment, and conviction. It requires us to focus inward, to cultivate the habits, resilience, and patience that will carry us forward no matter the obstacles in our way. This path is not about competing with others or seeking external validation. It's about discovering our potential and having the faith to trust in our own growth. By setting meaningful goals, showing up consistently, and building strong habits, we lay the groundwork for lasting change. And by learning to believe in ourselves, our worth, our abilities, our capacity to overcome setbacks, we unlock a strength that no setback can shake. The power of self-improvement lies within each of us, waiting to be harnessed. When we make the decision to invest in ourselves, to nurture our potential, and to embrace every step of the journey, we become unstoppable. Remember, progress doesn't happen overnight, but with patience, discipline, and a commitment to growth, we can achieve things we once only dreamed of. So let's keep moving forward, focused on becoming better each day and trusting that with every step we're building the lives we were meant to live.